Superstorm Sandy brought heavy rains, flooding, and beach erosion to Delaware's shoreline, but it could have been a lot worse.
We were lucky. We were spared the brunt of the devastation that our neighbors to the north experienced. Thanks to the beach nourishment projects that were completed last year, hundreds of millions of dollars of potential damage was prevented.
Using $50 million in state and federal funds, beach replenishment started in 2005 and finished up around March of last year, about 7 months before Hurricane Sandy.
We had beaches that were as full as they could be, and I think that's why we were so resistant and so well defended by that work when Sandy hit us.
Not so much for the beach along Route 1 north of the Indian River Inlet Bridge. The Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Control says the last time the beach was resupplied was in the late 80s, and it showed.
After Sandy, this stretch of Route 1 was a mess. Along with flooding, there was 4 to 5 feet of sand deposited right on the roadway.
With Route 1 buried, a vital link to hospitals and emergency services was cut for communities south of the bridge, and coastal communities north of the bridge were hurt as well.
The merchants, the businesses, the restaurants in Rehoboth are all dependent on that corridor.
But $30 million in all federal money will help restore Delaware's beaches and dunes to pre-Sandy conditions. $6.5 million will go towards making the Indian River Inlet Beach a couple hundred feet wider with a much more substantial dune.
Sandy was a really outstanding storm. It was huge. Assuming we have more average conditions, I think that dune will hold up very well.
But some argue replenishing beaches in general is a waste of taxpayer dollars.
I have heard remarks like that this is spending the taxpayers' money to fix up rich people's front yards. The response is that there's an enormous amount of money generated for the state by tourism.
A University of Delaware study released last summer found the coastal economy generates about $7 billion a year for the state, supports 59,000 jobs, and contributes $711 million in additional local, state, and federal taxes.
As long as that investment is returned by favorable dollars that are greater than the expense, then we will continue in the business.
It's not all business, though. U.S. Census numbers show more people are moving to the beach. In 2010, 197,000 people lived in Sussex County. In just 2 years, that number grew to 203,000, a 3% change. Gary Jane lives in South Bethany and served as mayor from 2006 to 2010. He's lived through some tough times in his town.
We had no dune, and the beach itself was very narrow. And whenever we had a nor'easter, the ocean water would come up under the houses onto Ocean Drive.
In 2007, the beach in South Bethany was replenished and is now considered Denrec's poster child of success.
In front of those houses that were constantly besieged by waves and tide all winter long, there is now a very stable dune. We have not seen one wave come across most of that dune.
Even during Sandy.
We were very fortunate. On the ocean side, which is the east side of Route 1, we had very little damage.
I think people will still refute how if it's going to work as a permanent solution, but if it buys us 25, 30, 40 years down the road, we've had great success.